Hey, what's going on? What's going on, Facebook? I think this is my first Facebook Live here with with the laptop here. It's my first time doing it, so I'm a little bit semi off here with this. But also, this is going to be uploaded on YouTube, so you might be watching this on YouTube on the replay to say that. But what I'm going to talk about here, first off, right off the back here with this, is I'm going to talk about like the psychology, the psychology of of outsourcing, because a lot of people fear it. They fear outsourcing. They fear things that they haven't done before, and there's a big problem with that. The big problem with that is that if you want things to change in your life, just like me, if I want things to change in my life too, if we keep doing what we've always been doing, we will keep getting what we've always been getting. You know what I mean? You cannot keep doing the same exact thing. I was just talking to somebody a little earlier, and they were talking about how many listings they had up on one of their e-commerce sites, similar to mine. I'm going to try to keep this as generic as possible, but it's going to relate mostly to e-commerce as far as my examples go, because that's a lot of my experience. So, but they were talking about like how many listings they had, and it was like a lifetime of listings, and how many listings they have, or how many listings that my VAs are putting up in a day, and it was like a whole lifetime worth. And they were like, I don't have results yet. And I was like, well, you need to get a virtual assistant. So what is a virtual assistant? What is a VA? A virtual assistant is just a real person. It's just a real person that needs a job. So I have a very large community of people that are looking for jobs. From the Philippines. I have around 60 people in a group of mine. Many of them have been trained by me and our staff and our team and things like that. And virtual assistants are just real people, just looking to have a job. So I don't really I call them my workers, but if I'm talking like on the internet, I know everybody likes to say virtual assistant, or VA or whatever. So I like to refer to it, as that. So thank you all for coming on. I see there's a bunch of you guys on here so far. I'm not going to call anybody out or anything like that. If you have any questions at any given time, just go ahead and comment below. I'm going to share my experience, with outsourcing. I've been outsourcing for about 3 years now. I have virtual assistants that help me with my Amazon FBA business. They do product research for me. I just started a new strategy on eBay where I have virtual assistants listing for me for drop shipping on eBay. So I just started that strategy as well, and I'll talk about that a little bit, more towards the end of this hangout. And I'm just going to go over all these topics here and try to help ease your mind. If you're interested in outsourcing and you want to take your business to the next level, I'm going to just do my best to ease your mind and help give you that push that you need, to get into it and to get into building a team, because you can only do so much by yourself. You know what I mean? You can only do so much by yourself, and that's a problem with a lot of people. If you ever read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, he talks about the 4 quadrants, like the self-employed quadrant, the business owner quadrant, the investor, and the employer and the employee. Well, there's a big difference between working in your business and working on your business, right? The self-employed, they work inside their business. They work inside of the business, and they're trying to do everything themselves all the time. Well, then you got the CEO. He's working on his business. He's being good at delegating. I know it's hard to let go. But if you don't let go, if you don't take a chance and let go of the responsibilities, and give them to somebody else, you can never grow your business. You can never do what's the most important thing to do. So, like if you own a business and you're doing tasks that are like, minimum wage task, why do you expect to get paid more than minimum wage? You know what I mean? So a lot of people own businesses and they're doing these minimum wage tasks, and then they wonder why they're not getting any better. And that's saying that I see a question there. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Unsuspended for what? Just go ahead and be more clear about that, and I'll come back around to that question. But a lot of people, I just lost my train of thought there because of that question. Sorry about that. I might just have to come. I might have to do these questions at the end of this thing, so I don't really mess it up. But a lot of people, that's what I was saying. A lot of people do these like $10 an hour tasks, and they wonder why they're averaging something like $10 an hour in their business. And the reason why is because they're not doing the most important things. And when you start a business, you own a business, you have to figure out what's the best use of your time. What's the best use of your time? If you own a business, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. You know that it's like every day you're like, what's the best use of my time? What's the best use of my time? Sometimes you have to jump in there and do whatever it takes, right? Obviously, I have that philosophy in life, right? I got the Whatever It Takes Wednesday show. That'll be tomorrow. But, you have to do whatever it takes, and you have to be willing to, if you own a business, willing to do everything, But how can you spend your time the best? So I just wanted to talk about the psychology, first here in this hangout and understand the reasons why that you don't want to be doing these things. So like in e-commerce, you can have somebody listing for you for $1, $2 an hour or so from overseas, and then you could be operating on other parts of your business. You could be looking for more capital regularly and things like that. And a lot of people, they start e-commerce businesses and things like that, and they're doing these $2 an hour tasks. They're doing these $2 an hour tasks, and they wonder why their business isn't growing or why they only made $2. If you're doing $2 an hour task and you're like, I just made a $2 sale, but you just got paid, in direct proportion to the value you were bringing to the marketplace, whether it was in your business or somebody else's, right? So you got to learn to delegate, you got to learn to let go and find out what the best use of your time is. It's an ongoing struggle, for a business owner to know, where the best use of their time is. You know what I mean? So it's something that you should ask yourself. I like to ask myself that every day, like, am I doing the best thing that I could do with my time right now? Did I handle all the most important tasks? Like Brian Tracy's got that book, Eat That Frog. And what that book's about is doing the most important task in the beginning of the day. Eating that frog or whatever, and that's usually the most valuable task, the most high-paid task you could possibly be doing. And then you should be having virtual assistants or other employees too. It might be American employees as well, doing the other things that can be done. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to talk about that and talk about the fear of letting go. You've got to have courage. You got to have courage. If you want to start a business, you want to be in business for yourself, you have to have courage. And it does take courage to let go. But how do you do it? Here's one of the things that's really simple, when you're dealing with people. One of the things that's really simple when you're dealing with people is to be real transparent. Like when I first got started, let me just talk about that. Like when I first got started, because that's probably the most valuable way to talk about this topic. When I first got started as hiring virtual assistants, I was afraid. I was like, listen, her name was Kathleen. She doesn't work for me anymore. And I'm like, Kathleen, listen. I'm like, I want to know if you can work for me part-time. I need you to check my customer service. It was for my Amazon store. So I want you to check my customer service every day. I want you to do my shipping confirmations every day for my shipping. I actually had her starting out with people usually in e-commerce, people usually have people doing listing first, which is more valuable. But I actually did it a little bit backwards from some of my friends. I had her doing customer service because I hated customer service. And I had her doing shipping confirmations because I thought that was easy. And what I told her was, I said, listen, her name is Kathleen. I was like, listen, Kathleen, I was like, I don't really have a full-time job for you yet. I was like, but if you're willing to work with me and grow with me, I'd like you to work for me full-time, and maybe I can give you a full-time living out of this deal. You know what I mean? So like that's the way that so you just propose what you have to offer to someone else. And you can start it out in smaller bite-sized pieces if you're afraid. But one thing I like to encourage is to find out ways that a virtual assistant or anybody else that you might have doing some kind of other outsourcing for you, to do your best to find tasks that they can do that actually make you money, and things where you could pay somebody less, for things that are going to make you money. It'll help you create momentum in your business. Hey, what's up, Paul Hutchins? Good to see you on here. Great stuff. Great seeing you, man. Appreciate all the value you bring to the market. Yep, thank you, man. Thank you. You bring so much value. so much value to, Paul. I'm always mentioning you, and then I listen to your replays, Paul, and I hear you mentioning me with other stuff too. So that's awesome. So how do you manage employees, right? How do you manage employees? That's one thing with virtual assistants. I'm just going to share about my own experience because that's the best thing that I can do. I can't say, oh, this is the way to do this is the way to do that, this is the way so-and-so says. I can only just share you my real, live, raw experience. So what I like to do with my virtual assistants is I have them in a Facebook group. We have a Facebook group just for our staff. Like if you're in some other kind of brick and mortar business, you can do the same thing. You can start out with 2 employees, like you and your wife or whatever at first. And then you can build on it, like put an employee inside that Facebook group. And then what I have my one thing I have my employees do every day, my virtual assistants, I had them go in there and actually log in. They go into the Facebook group. They say when they started work, when they left work, and exactly what they did every day. Because I want to know as much about my business as possible, right? So that's why I do that. I have them give me reports. And then if they're not giving me reports, like one of them hasn't been giving me reports as well, and I might let them go because I don't want to have people work for me if I don't know exactly what they're doing, because then that might mean that I'm paying them, or they're getting over on me or something like that, right? So, but here's the great thing about building a team, because if you want to build a big business, you need employees. It doesn't matter what you're doing, in my opinion, whether it's network marketing, affiliate marketing, internet marketing, e-commerce, brick and mortar, real estate, trading, whatever you're doing. If you build a better team, you're going to be able to do more. You're going to be able to do more. And that one saying, a lot of people like to say it. They say, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. Well, that saying will keep you broke every time. If you catch yourself saying that, you should probably rewind and be like, whoa, I shouldn't be saying that to myself. You know what I mean? Because that's a disempowering saying. Here's the thing. So this is one thing I wanted to touch on too. Well, one thing that will happen when you start outsourcing and hiring people to help you do your business is they'll end up better than you at your job than you. So like, let's just take e-commerce for an example. If somebody's listing, let's say you got, I don't know, 12 hours in a day, like this is a big number, but you probably don't if you're working another job, you might have 4. Let's just break it down in percentages, okay? Let's say you're like, if you own an e-commerce business and you're listing new products for sale every day, and that's like 25% of your time for the day. Now, if you hire somebody else to do the same task, they're doing the same task 100% of the day, 100% of the time. Who do you think is going to be better at doing that job? Right? So it's like that whole saying, I don't know if you guys ever heard it before. It's like nobody wants to be a jack of all trades and a master at none. So what you want to become a master at if you're a business owner is like what Napoleon Hill talks about. I know Paul Hutchins likes this. What Napoleon Hill talks about, he talks about, being good at getting people to work together in harmony. You know what I mean? Because if you can get good at that skill set, then you can get lots of things done, right? Like Henry Ford, he had like somebody for metal, he had somebody for, I don't know, mechanic or, like different stuff, right? Like he had buttons on his desk. He could push different buttons and different people would come in. They were experts at different things. And his skill set was to get people to work together in harmony. And, that's what you want to do when you own a business. That's why you want to outsource, because if you outsource, you can get things done even better than they were getting done before. You can get things done faster. You can get things done in higher quantity. You can make 10 times more money because you're just producing faster with better quality. You have a better operation. It goes back to like the whole systems thing, right? Like how come McDonald's can be ran by teenagers, right? $1 billion franchise. Why can that happen? The reason why that can happen is because it has a good system. Well, how good of a system can you have if you're all by yourself? If you don't have a good team, if you don't have other people that you work with and mastermind with that are better at different things, you know what I mean? So that's why it's so important. That's why it's so important to to outsource, to build good teams and things of that nature, right? So let me just go through here, make sure that I'm hitting all these questions and stuff like that I wrote down here. Here's one of the humps. Okay, so here's one of the humps here. So and I know my different friends that have VAs do different things. They pay them in different kinds of ways and things like that. So what I like to do when I'm hiring VAs, and this is for me hiring employees for a long time. I had a landscaping business for 13 years. Really, I always say 12, but it's actually 13. I actually just do the math wrong or whatever. But all those years, what I like to do is the reason why I like to hold like a week back or hold a couple weeks back and things like that of their check is because I want my employees to need me. I want my employees to need me. I don't want them to get their last paycheck and be like, shoo, especially like if they left off in a certain spot and I don't know where they left off. I want to make sure that I know where I want to make sure that they need me for their last paycheck so I can talk to them before they leave me in a bad position, right? So we're going to talk about the topic of like how to pay your VAs, right? How to pay your VAs. So like this is what I like to do. Everybody's different. I got friends that pay their VAs every week. They pay them the same exact week. They might not have as much experience as I do with hiring staff, and that might be some of the reasons why they're doing that. But what I like to do is I like to hire my workers, and I like to hire them. I like to pay them every 2 weeks, and I like to always hold 1 week back. So what that does is I'm able to get 3 weeks out of them working in production mode, making more money for the company, whatever company of mine it is. And then once they're making me money, then I have the money to pay them. I mean, it doesn't really cost as much money when you're outsourcing and hiring people from overseas and things like that anyway. But if you want to be able to be creative, right, you got to be creative when you're in business. If you want to be creative and find ways to pay for your employees before you have to pay them, so there's one way to do it, right? Like, because if you had a brick and mortar business, if you were doing a landscaping business, you'd be doing work that week, and you'd probably be able to get a few checks that week to be able to pay your employees. And I remember having times with that where it was like, man, where am I going to get the money to pay these guys? Because I'm waiting for XYZ to pay, I'm waiting for ABC over here to pay me, and it's like me and Paul Hutchins right here on the thing, just like me and him were talking about before. Entrepreneurship, it's like a different kind of rat race sometimes, but it's the one that we want to be in. You know what I mean? Because it's the one that has less limitations. You know what I mean? And you could do one you could do more with, have more freedom, and have the things that you want in your life with, right? So we talked about that, like how to pay your VAs. How to manage your employees, letting go of control, how people can do your job better than you can do your job, which is something so powerful that people really need to understand. So we covered that. Do you want to work in your business, or do you want to work in your business, or do you want to work on your business? And the difference between that, trying to do everything yourself and not ever really creating any kind of leverage. Big businesses don't do that. They don't work in their business. They work on their business. I mean, yes, a lot of times you have to work in your business to get there, right? You got to work your way out of that position, right? Like you want to, as a person like hiring virtual assistants and employees and stuff like that, what you want to do is you want to be in the habit of firing yourself from each task so that you can create more room, so you can create more time to do more. I once heard a guy say the more money people make, the more they value their time. So like if you can hire people to do all these different tasks, you create more time to do the more valuable task, right? So you want to be in the habit of firing yourself from simple tasks that aren't high paying tasks, because you're trying to build a business here, right? The cool thing about it is you're able to give people jobs, right? You're able to give people jobs. So you're able to help other people. You're able to help other people, and you take care of their families. I had a woman on here last week named Linda, and she was talking about how she hired some people, and they messaged her crying. They messaged her crying, and were like, I'm finally able to give my kids milk. I'm finally able to give my kids milk. And they were crying, and I was like, I was so inspired by that, because it's like, it's so great to be able to be part of something that's bigger than ourselves, right? And that's where the fulfillment part comes in with business, because you're in business. If you're just making money and that's all there is to it, it's not as fulfilling. And that's another really cool thing about building teams, creating jobs, for people, whether they're in the States or out of the States or wherever they may be. That's one of the really great things about creating teams. If anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them below. If you're getting some value, please comment below, value, type of one, or something like that. That would be pretty cool. So that, so I would know that you're getting some value from this here. So I'm going to go ahead and check off this here. Do you want to, questions? So here's one last reminder too before I close this out too, is a question to ask yourself always. This should be asked almost daily. Where is my time best spent? So if you own an e-commerce business, the last time I'm going to say this too, if you own an e-commerce business and you're listing when you could be paying somebody a couple dollars an hour to do that, you're in a bad place. You're in a place where you're not going to ever be able to be successful. And when it comes to certain businesses, especially the e-commerce space, and thanks, Dan, thanks, and especially the e-commerce space. And here's another cool thing too: if you can create jobs for people where you have staff to be able to help you do things, they can actually help you do other things as well too. They can help you do. You check your Facebook fan page and actually answer questions that people are asking on there. I actually have my virtual assistants do that part-time too. I'm like, hey, go over to my fan page and you can see if people have any questions on there or they need information they didn't get it. You can go ahead and serve those people and help them out there too. And they like it because they want to be able to do whatever they can to help the business, because you're giving them a job and they need a job, right? So that's one really powerful thing. Thanks for commenting, Dan. I know a lot of people will watch and won't comment. They like to just secretly watch or whatever. So, but anyway, here's my last thing here. My last thing here too. I want to I just want to give you guys before I end it, give some words of encouragement. I do want to give you guys an invitation, to learn how to get a virtual assistant from me. Message me if you like. I actually just started a new strategy on eBay. If you'd like to start a new strategy on eBay, hit me up. I just started this new strategy on there where I actually where I have a couple virtual assistants on there listing products for me regularly right now, and I have a bunch of them that are trained already, that already know how to do that. That I can help plug you into, so that you can, if you're an eBay seller or want to be an eBay seller, you can really speed up the process. So there's an invitation to anybody that would like me to go the extra mile. If you'd like to learn alongside of me with this new strategy that I'm learning on eBay at the moment, feel free to reach out and ask me questions about that. I'm totally cool with that. So thank you everybody, for coming on here and everything like that. If you have any questions about it, afterwards, just go ahead and drop them below in the comment thread. That's cool. Feel free to reach out. I'll be on here tomorrow with Whatever It Takes Wednesday. We're having a very special guest, our second female that was on here. So that's really cool. Hey, what's up, Kimberly? Thank you, Daniel. VAs are definitely on my hit list. Yeah, put them on the hit list. Just don't take them out. I'm just kidding around. Sounds like you're ready to take somebody out. But anyway, Kimberly, thanks for coming on here. Are they just product or service systems? So, all right, I was just getting ready to close it out. But yeah, feel free to bring any questions if we can bring any questions here at the end here. Are they just product or service systems? So can you be a little bit more clear about your question, Will? I'm not sure exactly what you mean. So please go ahead and elaborate, and I'll help you out there. Are they just product or service systems? So with a virtual assistant is just a VA virtual assistant, just a person that that needs a job overseas, and just a real person. But as far as systems goes, I'm not sure exactly what you mean. You can feel free to reach out to me after the hangout's over if you like. If you're catching this I want to say this too. If you're catching this at the end, I encourage you to go back and watch it from the beginning, because I talk about the psychology of hiring virtual assistants. Whether it's an e-commerce business or something else. If you're in the affiliate marketing space, you can have them answer questions for you. People in real estate even too, they have virtual assistants actually go through and find property for them and things like that too. So there's many systems that you could put together for just about anything, with the help of inexpensive help, So, but anyway, thank you all for hopping on here. Like I said, I'll see you guys on here for whatever it takes Wednesday. Definitely tune into that. If you're in the New Jersey area, North Jersey, Delaware, Pennsylvania, New York, Maryland, like all up here in the Northeast coast or whatever, feel free to hit me up about Thursday. On Thursday, I'm going to be speaking on entrepreneurship in North Jersey. It's a free event, so you can just ride up and meet me in person. I got some other really cool friends that are going to be there, some other speakers. One of the speakers is buying a Ferrari this week and stuff, and he did it like with no money down somehow or something. He's going to be like talking about that, so that's pretty cool. So the sort of virtual systems that you are supplying, what are they? So I'm not supplying any virtual systems, any virtual systems. I'm not supplying any systems like that. I just did this to just out of the kindness of my heart, like just giving pure value, to talking about the power of outsourcing, how to get over the fears of doing it, how to start out and negotiate with virtual assistants and things like that, and how you can have them grow with you and things like that. I have virtual assistants do product research for me for my Amazon FBA business. I also have virtual assistants that help me check my Facebook fan page. They check for messages and stuff like that when I'm doing advertising. And I now also have 2 virtual assistants also listing for me on eBay as of just a few weeks. And I have around 1,000 listings on eBay already, because of them. I only listed like 3 or 4 just to show them how to do it. And now they've listed all those products, you know what I mean? So while I'm sleeping every night, new products are getting listed on my store. New potential sales are getting listed on my store every day. So if you want to learn alongside of me with that, I'm actually learning my other friend's strategy. Just be as transparent as possible. I do have around $1 million worth of drop shipping experience on Amazon.com before I got into FBA on Amazon and went that route. So I'm pretty good at systems with virtual assistants listing for me and running my operation. So I have lots of experience there. So feel free to reach out to me about that. It'd be very cool. And thank you again. I think I said thank you like at least 10 times already or whatever for everybody coming on here and watching and learning and everything like that. So thank you, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.